I'm Deepika, founder of Pattern Review, and welcome to today's podcast. Last week I did not make, uh, did not film this video because I was filming some other video, and if I figure out how to do it, I'll try to include a little clip. But basically, I was making over 200 cookies with my daughter Dia, and she decides to make a time lapse video, and it was super duper fun. It's only 3 minutes long, even though we were filming for a longer time. But it's it was hilarious. It's most fun I've had with her in a long time. Yeah, we were making cookies from 8:30 in the morning till 5, and then we dropped it off to our friends locally, and it was really nice. So I was wiped by the end of the day, so I decided I'm gonna skip a week and kind of just take it slow. So here we are. We have a lot of fun things to talk about. So I hope you are ready with a beverage of your choice, and let's dive into some questions. Question number one: when we write our pattern reviews, what kind of information seems most valuable to the readers, and what makes a useful review? Oh wow, this question comes up quite often. I've been asked that, and it comes up very often actually on the forums on pattern reviews. So I thought it's now's a good time as any to kind of offer my perspective on pattern reviews. You all know why I started pattern review by now. It's because I was learning to sew and I couldn't find any reviews or honest feedback on patterns which people were using. So to me, that is the most important thing when I what I look for in a review is honest feedback. People actually sharing what worked for them, what didn't work for them. So I actually am a person who loves a story. I like a review in which people talk a little bit about their inspiration. But before I get into some of the other things, I want to preface all of this by saying that I want you to look at a pattern review as your own personal sewing journal. I have found myself going back to my older reviews and, especially if I'm making a pattern again and it's been a few years, or if I'm making it, let's say I made something for my daughter who's now 10, but I'm using the same pattern to make something for my niece who's 5. And I will often go back and review my old pattern reviews for alterations, sizing information. So I look at all of my pattern reviews as my journal. I don't really blog, and it's kind of nice to go back and see my sewing journey. I've it's been 20 years now, so we've formed quite an archive of pattern reviews. So think of that as your personal journal. What would be helpful to you as a reader and contributor to pattern review? I may be biased, but I will tell you that I really like our review template, which is just simply one click and it fills it out for you. Pattern description, what is it? What sizes you used, what sizes are included in the pattern, and what size did you make. That to me is one of the most useful information: sizing and fit, and then pattern alterations. Did you alter the pattern to fit you, or did you use it as is? Where did you find the instructions helpful? And then somehow my eye always, I guess it's the patternaholic in me, my eyes will always go to the fabric people used and where they got it. That's something I always look for in a review. And I, honestly, all of these are very subjective and personal to you. I don't want you to ever think that, oh my goodness, I'm just gonna get so bogged down by all of these details that I don't know if my review is good enough. So I'm trying so hard to fight this concept we have in our society, which is to appear perfect all the time, right? I think I prefer honesty and real us than have this concept of what is a perfect review, what is not. I think do what works for you. Some days I just feel like just uploading a few pictures and sharing what worked for me that time, and other days I'll write a lengthy review. It's all good. I think at the end of the day, people really appreciate seeing what other members made and they get inspired. And anytime I pick up a new pattern and want to sew, that is the first thing I do. I will check to see if there are any reviews, and if there are, I will actually read all of them. And yeah, so I hope this is helpful information, or maybe I'm being too vague about it, but I really truly believe that you should think of a pattern review as your journal. And in terms of how it appears on the screen, a lot of the times, which I'll tell you in terms of format, white space, leaving lines between, having paragraphs, nothing fancy, just hit enter. Just so, because our eyes, let me back up a little. The review content is a lot of text, right? So our eyes need a focal point, our eyes need to rest in order to be able to focus. So if there are spaces between your review, especially when it's getting long, don't ever think that, oh, I'm taking up too much space, it's getting too long. As long as you have line breaks in between, it's completely fine. And like I said, I'm one of those few who likes to read a story, so that's one of my favorite parts of reading reviews on pattern review, that it's so much more than just looking at pictures. Speaking of which, a good photo which shows the front view, hopefully on a body where, your own, or for whomever you've made the garment, is always nice. People like to see clothes on real bodies. I like to take my pictures. I just use my phone now. I have a DSLR, and we do have, I think I'll have to dig it up. We do have a blog post which talks about taking good pictures, but the pattern review template allows you, shouldn't say template, the review process allows you to upload up to 5 pictures, and so you can do that from your phone or computer, anything which is useful for you. But yeah, clear pictures. I like to take them outside whenever I can, otherwise in a well-lit room where you are facing the light. So not like in this case the light is behind me, but stand in front of the window with the camera, pretty much kind of the reverse of what I'm doing now. Yeah, so that is what I think makes for a good pattern review. Okay, second question. This is a long one, but it's a really fun one too. Having enjoyed seeing the examples you shared of different finishing techniques and fabrics, I think that was episode 2, and I'll link it down below in the description box of this video. I got to thinking, you're such a prolific sewer. Thank you. You must need a large finished wardrobe closet. I actually don't have a large finished wardrobe. But it's enough for me. It's good enough for me. When you find the need to give away some of your clothes that were extra, something similar to your daughter's Hong Kong finish jacket, do you find it hard to do? I do. Now that we can easily snap pictures, sometimes I think to do that before donating a favorite. But I found I miss being able to refer back to the real thing to say to myself, oh, this is how I did that technique, or even, wow, I sewed that. So the question you're asking is, do you find it hard to give away clothes which you've made. So I think it is harder for me to see an item I have made and not for it to not be used. So when I have made in the past clothes, either for my daughter or for myself, and I didn't end up using them for one reason or the other, I much prefer to give it to somebody or donate to a place where I feel that it will be loved and used. And so it is actually not hard for me. It's harder for me to keep looking at it and not be able to wear it. So I do give things away. I gave away a cold shoulder top because, as I mentioned in one of the past episodes, that I don't sew too many trendy clothes, but I did try the cold shoulder concept because everyone was making it. I said I have to jump on this bandwagon, but I never liked it on me, and I have a friend who loves wearing those type of tops, so I gave it away to her. I've given away quite a few skirts which don't fit me. I made a reverse applique dress which was not the right shape for me, and um, it has been rewarding every single time, especially when friends or family members write write to me showing pictures of either their kids wearing it or them wearing it, or even if I never hear back from them. For me, it's just enough to know that clothing is being used. And in terms of techniques, I don't think I have ever thought of it like that, but now that you've brought it up, I do wish I had that Hong Kong jacket, which, because that is the only time I've done that Hong Kong seam finish. So I wish I had that with me, but I do know that it made a certain, what, like she was 5 then? 7, I think, 7 year old, really happy, and she probably looked super cute. So I actually gave it away to a pattern review member who used to review a lot, and she has a daughter Dia's age. And so I PM'd her first and asking her if she would like it, and she said she would absolutely love it. So I mailed it to her. Yeah, so it all depends on, I think you're right that we can take pictures now. Some items are kind of hard to give away. We all have sentimental value in some things we've made. Like, for example, I have still saved the first outfit I made for Dia. Actually, you know what? I want to show you a picture of it. I have it in my sewing room. It's a Oliver and S pattern. Oh gosh, this frame is broken, so I hope I don't go. So this is a dress I made for her, the first dress I made, and I have not given this away. I have this dress still hanging in her closet, but I am attached to it. So I think keep some of those items and then just let them be, let them free. At least that's my motto. And you know what? This question actually reminded me of a really sweet dress I got as a gift from a sewing friend. Her name is Karen, and she's a best-selling author now. And I'm gonna actually, I had visited her because I couldn't attend the PR weekend, and obviously when sewing friends get together, what do? We look into each other's closet and the things we've made. And this is this beautiful Liberty of London dress she had made, and I was trying it on because at that time I hadn't sewn with Liberty of London, and there was like so much talk about it. And I wish I could show this to you, but this dress is so beautifully made. It is completely underlined with cotton batiste, and let's see, can I bring it closer? It's beautiful. It's like just gorgeous. It's an old Berta pattern, and the finishing, everything about this is just gorgeous. And so I tried it on, and Karen was like, this really fits you so much better than it fits me. Take it. I said, I can't take it. She's like, no, just take it with you. And so every single time I wear it, it reminds me of that time, our friendship. And so, yeah, I think it's actually rewarding for me to share my hand sewn or hand knit items where I know they will get loved. That was a really long answer to your question. But okay, so what else should we talk about? Yes, okay, so I got a question from a member who is saying that she wants to. I was wondering if you could do a show and tell about your knitting project. So I know this is a sewing podcast. I'm talking about sewing most of the time, but this member said many PR sewists are knitters as well, and I think many members will enjoy hearing about and being inspired by your knitting journey. By the way, I really loved your beautiful knitted sweater in video 3. Thank you so much. I am so flattered that you like my knitting, and this has been quite a journey for me. And I know that if you came here for sewing, and if this is going to be not so much fun for you, I apologize, but I will take this chance to do a little show and tell for my for some of the few items I've knitted this year, actually. Interestingly enough, I really got into knitting with a sewing friend, a sewing pattern review friend. Her name is Teeny, and this is the one and only time I'd gone to Germany for a smaller, more intimate PR weekend. I could actually write a book on just PR weekend stories, right? I'm sure if you have attended a PR weekend, you could probably do the same. And yeah, so it was a small group. I think we were this fewer than 10 maybe, and we were just sitting, and Teeny opened her beautiful home to everybody, and they were all sitting around and knitting socks, which was extremely intimidating to me. And I'd only knitted scarves and simple items like flat, nothing three-dimensional up until then, but she taught me how to knit socks. I went yarn shopping with her in Germany, and it was again one of the most fun memories. And I'm bringing this up now because after that trip, I got really addicted to knitting socks, and I don't have most of them because I've given them away as gifts, or they got holes on them, and I did not know how to repair them. But I do have one pair still left, which is in the wash. And last week I finished my first color work socks. Look at this. I am so in love with these. I still have to weave in the ends and block these. But yeah, so what I'm gonna do actually is write down the names of the patterns in the description box. So if you hit show more, you can see all of the links, and I'll try to provide some information about all of these patterns and yarns. But the pattern is called Sparks Socks by Drea Renee Knits. And the yarn is Spin Cycle, and the solid color is Cascade Heritage. So this is one I have finished. And the sweater you talked about is this one. It's basically just a stockinette stitch with a little bit of pattern here and in the back. But I think the drama in this cardigan is the seed stitch collar, and I just loves how I just love how it drapes around my neck and keeps me warm and snuggly. Yeah, the yarn for this, I used Madeline Tosh DK weight. I completed it this year. Believe it or not, I was looking at my knitted objects which I made this year. There were 18. I made 18 things. And I think I did 15 sewn items. That has never happened before, that I've knitted more things than I've sewn. I'm really hoping, keeping my fingers crossed, that that will change 2022. I don't know why. I just enjoyed knitting a lot more this year than before. And that's completely all right. Okay. I think I'll have two or maybe three more if you're here. Okay. So the other item which I just finished are these. Oh my god, look at my Christmas nails, which are all chipped off. These are my first lined color work mittens. The pattern is called Fiddlehead mittens, and I used for the beautiful colored yarn. The color changing yarn is Spin Cycle dyed in wool, and I've lined these with alpaca yarn. And that one is, what's the name of this company? Oh, Moon. Oh my god, this is gonna, Heritage Moon, Blue Moon. Okay, this is gonna drive me nuts. I promise I'll put it in the description box. Okay, I just remembered it. Well, okay. So these mittens keep me warm. I also made this asymmetrical cowl, and the plan was to actually make True Bias Lodo dress in just a solid color so I can wear this. And so that's going to be my next, I think the first 2020 project in 2022. A simple black dress so I can show off my handmades. This pattern is called Shift, and this was the first time I did mosaic knitting. It uses 3 different types of yarns. It's Barocco Sesame. Yes, Barocco Sesame. This was a really fun knit. Okay, and I think I have one more. Okay, this one is called Tiny Dancer, and this was a really, really fun knit. Also, it took a really long time because fingering weight yarn, but I love the way it drapes on the body, and I only had enough yarn to make it sleeveless. But because of this, I actually get to wear this a lot more. But yeah, so this is, what is this yarn? Oh gosh. Is it Madeline Tosh? Yes, I think it is. It's Madeline Tosh. I don't want to have to look it up right now and have this video go to 50 minutes. And then what I'm wearing here is a hoodie kind of sweater. It's very simple, nothing to it. This is Malabrigo Rios, which is my favorite yarn to knit with. The pattern is called Ease, and it is in worsted weight. This took me, believe it or not, this was not something I knit this year. This was a last year knit, but I wore it a lot this year. And so yeah, I'm thinking of knitting another one of these, even though miles and miles of stock in it gets to be a little bit boring. But after doing a lot of this color work, I think my eye needs a little bit of mindless knitting. Kind of like what we call in sewing palette cleanser. Does anyone else also say? Anyways, I do. Okay, so that's my knitting show and tell. I hope for those of you who don't knit, you'll excuse this if this was fun for me. And I actually do have a couple pattern review announcements, and then I have a question for you. This time of the year gets super duper busy for us at the office because we do a lot of recaps in terms of what our members did, how many patterns were released, which contests we ran. And I I often wonder, we love doing this, even though it's so much work, but is this something which is helpful to you? Did you read the year in review? There are three which have been posted: members, contests, and trends and classes. I would love for you to read them and see if you, I don't know, I always like to look back at what we did, um, on the site and on my personal life, like most of you. So it's nice to do a little recap and get inspired all over again. Um, so yeah, those are all there. As I mentioned on the forums, we still haven't announced the contest of 2022. That's been a little bit delayed, and the fault is mine. It's been a really busy and overwhelming month, so I'm allowing myself this grace to take some time, and I will post on the website as soon as I can, as soon as we have the list, which will probably be, I think we won't start any contests until January 15th. But until then, there are a lot of sew alongs which you can participate in on the forums. And I did want to talk a little bit about best patterns of the year. So I know that we didn't do best patterns last year because the data was just not conclusive enough for us to narrow it down by tops, bottoms, jackets, and that's how we usually do. But let's face it, most of us were sewing masks last year, and we still are. That's it's the reality of the world we're living in, and that's completely fine. But as I'm thinking about best patterns of 2021, I want to open it up to you and ask you this question: that what is it that you like the most about this list we publish on Pattern Review every year? What makes a pattern best? Is it a pattern which has just most number of reviews? Is it a pattern which has been you know, been awarded best patterns in the previous years? Should we take that out or reconsider some of those patterns which have been best patterns in the previous years? So talk to me, tell me what you're thinking in terms of best, and what would you like to see, and then we will put it up for voting very, very soon. And I think that's all I had. I would love to ask you to write reviews if you have time. I guess we're almost at the end of the year. But we love reading reviews, we love sharing our work, and that is one of the most funnest part of one of the most fun that is the most fun part of Pattern Review, to share each other's share in each other's sewing journey. So take the time to write reviews, take those pictures, and there was one other thing which oh yeah, so I thought I might actually use this in every episode to talk a little about sewing mojo and some tips on how to get your sewing mojo back. And I'll share with you one of the things I did earlier this year was just posted on Pattern Review, hey, if anyone wants to get on a Zoom call or a FaceTime video chat with me, and I'm making this dress, and bring any sewing project you have and let's sew together. So that really helped me. And one of the reasons I think personally I am finding it slightly challenging to find my sewing inspiration is because I haven't seen my sewing friends in person in so long, and that is really, really fun for me. So perhaps this little tip might help you find your sewing mojo by just video chatting and sewing online in real time with somebody. With that, I think I will end this episode. I hope you enjoyed watching it, listening to it. My goal with these podcast episodes is to just chat and try to answer some of the questions you might have. And I hope this is fun for you. If you have questions for me for my next episodes, please use the link I'm going to post in the description box below, or you can go to patternreview.com/AMA Deepika. And I look forward to your questions. Until next time. Oh, Happy New Year! Yes! Wishing you and your family a very, very happy, healthy, adventurous, and fun new year. I hope that I'm sending you lots and lots of sewing goodness vibes. All right, everyone. Bye. I'll see you next time.